Okay, how's everybody doing? So this is going to be a little tutorial on the Woodland Scenic Bulldozer build, part number D233. And as you can see, there's 11 parts here. So this is a kit, right? Like, this is not a ready to run. So when you get it all built up after all your hard work and paint, and you can put it in the palm of your hand and show your buddy and say, look at this nice little cat. And they'll go, hey, where'd you get that? And you just tell them where to order it. And then when they get it, they'll say, hey, buddy, it doesn't look like yours. Anyway, I just want to point out a couple of things before I assemble it. Now, this kit is really a really rough casting. I mean, I don't know how many, I think this is a D7 type cat, but I don't know how many there are out there. I know there's some ready to run die cast stuff, but I don't think there's one like this one. And they have a lot of character, and you can super detail them up and add a cabin and stuff, or a hood, you know, and just fix them up, and it'll probably turn out to be a pretty nice model. But they are heavy on the flash. I'll just point that out to you. Like just this deck piece here, you can see it's, you know, there's a lot of flash there. I'll just show you the track works in a second. But anyway, so I got a little disc sander and files. That's what you're going to need. You're going to need some small drills. I like to use this small little X-Acto wedge knife, and then a series of files, preferably a round one as well, so that when you do these tracks, like, they need cleaning up here. Like, I'll just show you the difference between the two of them. The one on the left, you can see that, you know, you got to drill out all these little bogey wheels, and there's a lot of flash on this. And then you can see the tread here, you know, how it rides high like that. You know, you're going to have to bend that down a bit to, like I did here with a set of these round pliers, just to, you know, put a bit of sag into them. And so I really clean these ones up good with a little Dremel tool, also with a tiny little bit. Or you can just drill them out with a file and just get a small file in there like this, and just clean them out a bit. And they clean up pretty good, you know. It's not a bad looking little set of track work on there. Okay, and then you can see just this pile of shavings here. This is all from just this, cleaning up this track work, all this. And then some, because I took it outside with the Dremel a bit too. So there's quite a bit of, you know, excess flash, as you can see, that comes off of these. But they're worth the work. If you put the work into them, you know, they'll probably turn out to be a pretty good model, right? There's flash and mold marks on this as well, and the radiator. But yeah, when it's all said and done, I'll show you a couple clips there too, and a little paint session, and she should turn out to be a pretty good little cat model, wouldn't you say? You know, when you scratch build a lot like I have over the years, you kind of, when you go back to a kit, you kind of struggle a bit, because you're building somebody else's idea and you're thinking, I would never have done it this way. But anyway, it is what it is, and it should look pretty good, you know, painted and weathered up. And then you can see I added the, you know, the sticks. I took some 15 thou and I added 5 sticks there. I don't know if you can see that very good. Can you see it better there? You can see I added 5 sticks. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm also going to add a sort of a cage hood on this. Like, I have a really neat photo. I'm going to run it from the front here, I think, from the hood, and then up, and then some screen at the back, just to add a little more body to it and a little more character. Okay, and I'm going to build it out of styrene, but first I need to put some plates on here, and I'm going to CA some evergreen plastic strips, anywhere from 10 thou to 15 thou thickness. I just cut it from the scrap here, right? And then cut some strips, and then if this is the strip here and this is the metal frame right here, right, I'm just going to use CA, medium strength, just to glue that onto the frame or the model. You can see I put 4 points. Actually, there's 2, 4, 6, 8. There's one at each corner at the rear here, one at each at the back of the seat, and then on the deck, and then just above the radiator. So I can build the cage, you know, pretty simple, and then just weld it in place. So I want to just have these glued here. I mean, you can use epoxy. If it was a larger scale, I'd use epoxy. But in this case, I'm just going to use CA. And then if I want to glue the post down, then I can just weld it like right to this plastic plate. That's how I like to build like this when I'm using mixed media, like metal and plastic. And then what I'm going to use for the frame is this here, number 143. So this is roughly like when you see 40 thou and 60 thou and HO with evergreen scale models, you can roughly guesstimate that this is 4 inches by 6 inches in HO. So this will be a 4 by 6. Now the frame on the photo looks like to me like just 4 by 4. I don't have any 4x4 stock for the life of me. I couldn't find any. Went to the hobby shop today. They had none. And I'm not going to wait around for it. I want to get this project done and painted and move on. So I'm just going to use this 4x6, okay? And really doesn't matter probably. They would have used different size materials because these were sort of field mods. You know, a lot of these hoods and roll cages, especially in logging, they were all different, you know, just to stop from trees coming down and killing the operator, right? You know, so that's what I'm going to do, and it should look pretty good, okay? Okay, so I just want to show you the details that I added to this little cat here. And then what I did was I had some of this BLMA chain link fence material here, and I've been using this for other projects for window screens and stuff, and haven't actually been using it for chain link fence lately, but I just cut some pieces and I used it for the rear screen back here, and then I added a piece on the top here and then a piece right here on the front, just sort of a bush cab on this old D7. So it just adds a little more character to it. Like I said, I built it from a photo, and you'll notice that not one is the same. You never find the same cab on any of these cats. They're all sort of field modifications. But I like the way it turned out. So now she's pretty much ready for paint. Okay, so here we are. We got the cat on the paint bench here, or the paint Lazy Susan. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to not black it out, but paint it with really dark rail brown, which again is just a color suited to taste with any kind of red, brown, and black in Tamiya. And you know, some people will say, well, you should primer a metal model first. Well, I am. That's what Tamiya is. Tamiya paint is just really primer. That's all it is. That's why it has such excellent flat qualities. So what I'm going to do is take the bottom of it here first. This is very thin too, again, right? Because you can do this with an airbrush. Like I say, get used to building up your opaqueness if that's what you're after, rather than just blowing on one big heavy coat, you know. That nice blade there. Okay, so it looks like I lost all my light. It was a beautiful sunny morning and then a storm's rolling in. But maybe this will show okay, because what I'm trying to show you is just a light dusting of very, very pale yellow over top of this cat now. And I'm going to go at it with some watercolor Vallejo's at the final stage for detailing. I just want to give it a light coat. Get in a bit close for more pigment. See how the detail of the tracks comes out there. Okay. This is essentially a dry brushing effect with an airbrush. I don't want to overdo it, right? I don't want to cover it like opaque, because I want to put some additional washes on it later. That should just about do it, I think. Okay, so I just want to follow up with a little short commentary here. So, for any of you that are going to attempt this model, like I would have to say that the first initial cleanup part, as I demonstrated earlier in the video, is probably where all the work is. But once you get it together, and even without a cab, it's a really nice looking model. Like, I had a lot of fun painting it. It was a little tricky photographing it, but I still had fun. And since I'm on that topic, when it comes to paint, when you look at the quick clip previous to this, you'll notice, or you might wonder, wow, look at the paint he's putting on. It looks really blobby and thick. Now that's a bit of an illusion because 95% of that's water, right? Tinted with 5 to 10% pigment. And what happens when the water evaporates? It leaves the stain or the filter behind, which is microscopic. So there's no excess paint buildup at all. And previous to this, especially with the airbrush with thin paint, like the umber and the pale yellow, there's no buildup there either. I mean, you could airbrush it all day long and the paint just doesn't build up. It's not detectable. So that's the advantage of the airbrush with thin Tamiya paints, and then following up with Vallejo watercolors that are basically tinted washes, you know, with the wet on wet style of painting. That's why I do it, because you preserve all the detail on the model. Not like what you might see on manufactured trains, and I get that, where all the details, if you look really close, they're rounded. All the corners are rounded off because the paint's so heavy, you know. But anyway, as they say, you get, or you don't get what you pay for, but you get what you work for. And this model takes a little bit of work, but boy, does it ever pay back in spades, right? A $10 model with 10 cents worth of paint. You gotta like it. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you soon, and I hope you have a great day.